Trevor's just a hard-working motherfucking chef who, has the skill and the fucking talent to do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? And just like these great people that you meet throughout the industry that, aren't out there. Because I think sometimes in this industry, people look at it as like, do you own a restaurant or not? You know what I mean? And I don't think that we should look at it that way. Like, just because a chef of that caliber, right, doesn't have his own spot, that doesn't mean shit, bro. That guy fucking put in his time. He's a motherfucking chef to the bone. Do you understand? So put some respect on that shit, man. Not every chef needs to be in a restaurant. And I'm taking the word chef back. I'm sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, chef's such a male-dominated thing." I'm sure it is. I'm sure it meant that for some people. But the word chef is beautiful, man. The word chef is like amazing. And shout out to Chef Morena. I met her in Mexico. The best chef, and I've eaten a lot of food. The best chef I've ever fucking met in my life, I met in Mexico when I went in December. Chef Morena. I mean, just a divine entity, sent here to make delicious food. And just the warmest woman. And she's like, what? And I was like, what should I? She said, Chef Morena, And identifying with that word, chef, like we need to get away from framing it as this bad word. I don't want to be called a chef. Like, let's just add some more respect to that word. Instead of taking it away and being like, it means this now, and we don't want that. When I was getting my tattoo in Mexico, I also got a tattoo stick and poke in Mexico on my fingers. She was telling me she learned how to tattoo in like the mountains of Nepal or some shit, and she was like, there's a lot of like swastikas everywhere, in India and in that part of the region of the world where she was at, and she's like, I have some on my body and they don't mean this evil shit, right? That it meant, but World War II shit, right? I don't have to explain that to you. We all know the history. So, because she was like, I'm gonna put one on your finger, and I was like, no, I don't think so. And she's like, it's just in her perspective, it was like, it's a shame that we can't use this like beautiful symbol, right? But that's her perspective on it. Beautiful symbol. And I know like millions and millions of other people look at that symbol and they're like, what the fuck? So it's just it's a wild world out there, and it's all about perspective at the end of the day. And so we just have to accept everybody as they come and just know that they don't know any better. And that comes from the lessons that I learned in Mexico. That very profound experience. And I know I'm jumping around once again, got off on a tangent, could have possibly offended some people with the shit I just said. I'm just riffing, bro. I'm thinking. No opinion is finito, right? Every opinion is always can be changed with another perspective, another point of view. And I just don't think that we should cast people away because of things that they believe in. I've just been super empathetic recently to people that, are wrong, right? We say they're wrong. They just, in their minds, they're right? In your mind, when you have a disagreement with somebody, you think you're 100% correct, right? And there's been times, and I know that everybody's gone through this, where you're not correct, and you maybe stand your ground that you are correct, just to not seem weak or whatever it is. It's just human nature, man. Human nature is it's a wild thing, and it's very tender, and love is the most important thing that exists. And I know that we need money to live and money to have success, and honestly, we need money to change the fucking world. Because the people with the most money are the people who are making the decisions for us on the daily, right? So how do we get there without selling ourselves, without doing the wrong thing? I think of Gary Vee. He talks about being successful and like how the only thing he cared about was doing things the right way and not necessarily the monetary outcome of the thing. So for all you guys out there who are thinking about doing your own thing, or, you know, you gotta have a board meeting, you know, the board meeting with your body. It's like your privates, your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and just talk about these things internally. Sometimes I think that, and I think I know this, but I'm not sure. There's some people that don't talk to themselves. And honestly, that's the most important thing in this world, is to be okay with yourself. Because if you're not okay with yourself, it's going to manifest itself in different ways. You're going to treat people poorly. You're going to make bad decisions morally, right? And again, this is Suciotalk, baby. This is just one man's opinion. Like, I could be 100% wrong on all the shit that I'm saying. And at some point, you know, with this podcast and putting yourself out there, it comes a point where you got to apologize to somebody, right? That's why at this point I'm just like, you know, no apologies. Say what you say, and if there really is an issue with anything that I've been saying, is suciotalk@gmail.com. Like I tell everybody, just email me. We'll talk about it. We'll talk through it. I'll take your point of view in, even if I don't agree with it, but maybe try to see it from your angle. Try to understand why you feel this way. Recently, I've heard a lot of like, oh, that's just the ego. That's just ego. Male ego. Bad ego. I think that we need to not turn off our ego, but have a better relationship with it instead of shying it away, because it's always there. And instead of making it a pest, right, a thing that is the thing that's in the back of your mind, like, well, you should do it this way. Have a conversation with that ego and ask it why. Ask yourself, why do I think that? And I promise you, if you talk to yourself a little bit more, you'll just come with better solutions for the things that are, you know, daily challenges that you face. I got quite bit off topic here. Topic? Got quite bit off topic. This whole time, Sucio's a robot. But Nashville was dope. In closing, Nashville was dope. Let's see here. We got my main man from Audrey in Nashville, Colby. I saw Chef Colby Rasavong at a Thai spot getting a sandwich. And he was like, yo, love the podcast. And he walked out. And I put it on my story because I was so pumped up that somebody knew the podcast. And it was him. It was him. I didn't recognize him at first. And he was like, yo, you want to come check out Audrey and do a podcast in the morning? And I was like, yo, cool. Hell yeah. So I went over to Audrey at like 8 in the morning and got a tour of the restaurant, the day spa, the lab that they got, the second floor dining room, which I think is going to be another restaurant of some sort. Really badass shit going on in the world of cooking. And something that I've seen over and over again, everyone's understaffed. So if you're out there and you want to get a job, and say you live in fucking New York or Wisconsin or whatever, somewhere far from a place where you want to work, figure out a way to fucking get there and go there. And you don't got to send nobody no fucking emails. Let me tell you what. Show up at the back door and let them know that you want it. Do the Marco Pierre White man. Show up for a month until they have to give you the job because you've staged yourself onto the team. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that take no for an answer. And I'm not one of them. And, you know, I'm not here to preach that everybody should be thinking the way I am. But, man, you get a lot more done if you don't take no for an answer. Fucking DC, again back because I dropped the Nashville episodes in DC, so that's why I got to go a little bit back and forth. You know what I'm saying? I ate at Maíz 64, which was Jessica and Hosa. They're fucking great chefs. Hosa worked at the French Laundry. Jessica worked at Charter Oak for me. Cool ass fucking couple. They've worked at some of the coolest restaurants in the world. At Pujol, like she came up the hard way. So shout out to Jess, doing awesome things out at Maíz 64. And this is not it for them. You know, I know that there's a lot more in the horizon for them as chefs, and it's just like huge talents to this world. Huge talents. So shout out to them. Maíz 64 in DC. Check it out. Check it out. And after DC, I went to New York. I ate at Momofuku Co. I also did a podcast with Esther in the morning at Momofuku Co. Met a fan there. He comes in. He's like, "Oh, dude, I love your podcast." Fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Shout out to him. Cool ass fucking people there. Cool team. Cool vibe. You know, they got the fucking animals aging. You can see the animals that are aging and they're walking. That's dope. It's dope. It's a dope restaurant. The food was dope. I ate with Eric Post. Shout out to Eric Post. And something that happened to me during this time, because I'm just looking through my Insta here. This person messaged me, "Damn, I wish I knew you were going to be in the city. I would have met you there." And it's like, motherfucker, I put up a whole schedule about where I was going to be. What the fuck do you mean you didn't know where I was going to be? And that's what I noticed. People do not read Instagram posts if you put too much information on them. So if you're following me and I do that again, I'm so sorry. I'll put less information on next time, and we'll see what happens. But I just knew it's like you don't read it. Nobody read that. Nobody read the whole schedule that I worked so hard on Canva for like 8 hours to get. It's not much, you know. It doesn't look like much, but it took a long time to get there. Do you understand me? I'm not that fucking technologically advanced. But yeah, great meal at Momofuku Co. And then I met a cool ass chef at the Market Line, Jay Rodriguez, Puerto Rican, raised in Connecticut, the man. And I had a tasting at his restaurant with Tina Ayala. Turns out the year before 2020, right? Not the year before 2020. The year before, which is 2020, right? Because I'm in 2021 here. I ate at this place called 232 Bleecker. And he was the hearth cook. And I had a picture of him. And I didn't even recognize him because he was wearing a hat. And so I did the podcast with him, and he's like, "Yeah, I used to work there." And it turned out I had an old picture of him working the line there. So it's kind of crazy, man. You're right where you need to be. You meet the right people. I then put out Andrew McLeod's restaurant of Nashville, Andrew McLeod's podcast of Nashville, and then I put Scott Champa out as well. And then Suciotalk had a birthday. Happy birthday, Suciotalk. You've given me more than I could ever want, and you continue to give me more than I could ever want. I feel proud that I get to share myself with all of you guys, and your constant support means a lot. And, you know, it's been magical. This whole year has been just insane. I've just been everywhere. I've been traveling like I want to travel, doing what I want to do when I want to do it, and not thinking about the consequences of that. You know what I mean? But I think it's time to actually get a home base going. I plan to do more traveling, but I also just need a place to call home and come back to. Place of my own, and just the opportunities that Suciotalk has afforded me have been great. The meals that I've eaten, the people I've met, the people I've gotten to talk to, the people that listen to the show and send me messages about how inspired they become just listening to it. So thank you to everyone. Happy birthday, Suciotalk. 1 year old. 1 year old Sucio. Here we go. Then I went to Philly. I went to fucking Philly, dog.